All right, so today we're going to create this first project of our Scratch course called 5 Random Facts About Me. A quick review of what this project is about. We're going to share 5 random facts about ourselves. Just don't include your name or where you live. You can even add music, although we will add that in an advanced version. And every time we press the space bar, we will be changing the screen to show fact 1, fact 2, fact 3, etc. And lastly, we will end it by saying thank you. With that, let's get started on our Scratch interface. Now, once you go inside your scratch.mit.edu homepage, what you need to do is to click Create. It'll take a little while to load, and once you're inside it, the first thing I would recommend us to do is to rename our project. So immediately the name has been saved. And what we will do now is to go ahead and click on the cat that is automatically placed on our stage. And we will click this trash button and remove it first. The next thing that we will do is to click on the backdrop area. Let me also turn on my spotlight. Hopefully you'll see this better. So what we will do is firstly create the first backdrop as the intro screen. I actually call it the title screen, okay? Now, feel free to choose whatever color that you want. Let's say I'll choose this lime green. And basically, I want to make a background and say, this is my first backdrop. And if we go back to this project, it says 5 random facts about me. So what we can do is to, let's say, make this, choose the black color. Yeah. And we'll draw something like 5 random if we don't like the handwriting that we're doing, we can always click the undo button here. And because my handwriting is not very good, I would choose to use the text function. And what you can also still do is to change the color of your text. Yeah. So make it fun. It doesn't have to be too serious. And you can make it a different font, you know, pixelated. Actually, I like the pixelated. And you can also change the size of your fonts. Great. So what we will do next is type about me. Okay. So here you go. We have our first backdrop. It's very green. So what we will do next is to start a second backdrop, which is by clicking the choose a backdrop and choosing the paint function. Now you're really free to do whatever you want with the backdrop. This time I'll draw a circle, again, super bright color. And this time I'll use a handwriting font and use a purple color. So fact number 1. All right. So have you guys spent some time thinking about what facts you want to include? Well, I did. So the first thing I will add is, okay, another thing I want to do here is to also update my costume, which is the name of the backdrop. Here, I changed the backdrop name to Fact 1. It is always a good practice to rename our backdrops and sprites. It is easier for us to search for our backdrops when we have more and more backdrops. So now here I updated it to Fact 1. What I'll do is to again press the text function and say, I like apples. And I'll change that to Pixel again. I really like this font. And just to make it more fun, I'll make it a bright yellow. Awesome. So as you can see here, there's no sprites. We have 2 backdrops, and we're finished with fact number 1. And keep going here, where it's good practice to just play around with different things and see what they do. This time I'm gonna make it, I'll make it a little bit more fun, where I'll just occupy half the screen this time. And it depends on what you feel like in terms of the style of the project. It's really up to you, but I am choosing it such that the font is the same for the facts and using the same font for the other ones as well. And using the same fonts for my facts. All right, so maybe I'll use black this time. All right. So the first fact is I like apples and I don't like oranges. And oops. Let's keep going, and we will have our third option. We can also have no backdrop and simply say, which is what Alexander actually did here, where we just put in fact number 3. We can blow it up. And I'll keep the handwriting. And maybe I'll say something, okay, I like skating, right? So keep that font and maybe just make a color that's more fun. We can use maybe a pink color here. Again, this is a good practice to get really familiar with our Scratch interface, right? So we're able to make the fonts really big and change colors here. And say, I love YouTube. Cool. All right. So seems like we're doing pretty well here. And what we will do is I'll show you one trick where we can trick our users that will have the 5th fact about us the same as the first one. So what I did just now is actually to click on duplicate by right-clicking on the backdrop. What it does is to create a exactly same backdrop. So what it does is that it created the exactly same backdrop as this first backdrop that we created, Fact 1, and we dragged it all the way down to the 6th backdrop. Now, one thing that I forgot to do here is to change the costume name. We'll change it back to Fact 3. Oh, so it actually doesn't allow me to change that. So let me just change this to Fact number 5. And we'll also change it to Fact 3 and this one Fact 4. Great. So we'll go back and say, change this to Fact number 5, which is the same as Fact number 1. And lastly, we can just add a thank you. Yeah, so we can add a thank you note to our user for dropping by to our fun little projects and change that costume to thank you. What we can do here is to just say thank you. Oops, let's change the color for now. All right, so thank you for stopping by. All right, so what we can do here, again, make it really easy to read. And that's it. So take your time to create this fun series of backdrops. And when you're done, go ahead and click the code area. And here you can see, firstly, on the stage, we have 7 backdrops, which is amazing. And what we will do is to start coding up our blocks. Once we're back to the Scratch interface, we can click in Event Blocks. As you remember, we only need to create 4 blocks today. The first one is when we click the green flag. So when we click the green flag, we want Scratch to go to the title page. So we will be clicking into the looks blocks and choose the first block. And if you have the sound on in your computer, which I recommend you do that when you're using Scratch, you might hear this clicking sound, which is when your blocks are snapped together. And the next thing that we want to do is to change the option from thank you to title. We can even start testing our code by going over to our Scratch interface right-hand side where we will be seeing the stage. What you can do is to go ahead and click the green flag. Wow, exactly. So you can see that when you click the green flag, you immediately is jumped to, so you can see that once you click the green flag, Scratch bring us to the title page. One other thing that I want to highlight is that you can see here in the drop-down menu that it is so useful for us to rename our backdrops. Imagine all our backdrops are just called backdrop 1, 2, 3, and we probably don't know which is which. Going back to our code, what we're missing is to press the space bar and switch to the next backdrop. So go ahead and choose your events blocks again and choose the second option. This block is called when space key is pressed. What we will do is to press the looks, and then we will be switching to the next backdrop. That's it. Now let's go back to the stage area where we will press our green flag and press the space bar key. Try it again. And yes, there we go. We in fact are able to change our backdrop one at a time. As we reach the last backdrop, Scratch actually brings us back to the first backdrop, which is pretty cool. Now, we can also test if Scratch is in fact bringing us back to the backdrop title wherever we are in the project. Let's say we're currently in fact number 2. If we press the green flag, it does bring us back to the title page. So that's it. Congratulations with finishing your first project. Do share a link and let us know how your project goes. Is to go back to our events drawer where we can see all these code for different events. The challenge specifically asks us to code up such that when we press N, we will skip ahead to one backdrop. So now let's drag out this same block that we used here. What we will change though is here where we will be choosing the N key. After that, we will go back to the looks. And then what we can do is to simply use the next backdrop twice. This is a great example that we can actually stack up our blocks however many we like. As long as they fit together, you can keep stacking them. Now let's test out whether this works. Now I'm pressing the green flag and then I'm pressing the space key to test the game is still working. It does go to the second screen. And now I'm going to test out the N key, which I expect that it will go, instead of going to fact number 2, it would go to fact number 3. There you go. And if I press this again, we should be going to fact number 5. Perfect. And guess what? We're gonna skip ahead to fact number 7 by pressing N again. Now, great job with finishing challenge number 2. Before we drop off here, I want to go back to this particular block that we've used twice now in this project. As you probably noticed just now, as you may have noticed just now, there are actually so many different options for us to choose from when we scroll down in this drop-down menu. You can even use the up arrow, the down arrow, right arrow, left arrow. And can you think of a way to use the left arrow so that you can go back to the backdrop? Well, I'm not going to tell you the answer, but go ahead and try to figure it out. And I'll see you in the next lesson.